Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were right on the edge of a breakthrough, but life kept pulling you back? Like, you were meant for more, but every time you tried to build something online, it faded before it ever took root? If that sounds familiar, stay with me. I want to tell you a simple story. There was a man who wanted to grow an orchard. Not for money, not for recognition, but because he wanted his kids, his neighbors, and his whole community to have shade and fruit for years to come. The problem? He'd planted seeds before and nothing happened. Some sprouted but died, some never grew at all, and some were stolen by birds before they ever touched the soil. And after enough failures, people around him started saying, why keep trying? Why keep believing? Maybe orchards just aren't for people like us. But this time he did something different. He planted the seeds anyway. He watered them even when the ground looked dry. He showed up when there was zero sign of life. He trusted the process, not because he had proof, but because he had purpose. And one morning, when he least expected it, he saw the tiniest green sprout break through the dirt. Then another, then another. Not because he forced it, not because he hoped for overnight success, but because he believed long enough for the roots to form. And here's the part that most people forget. The harvest doesn't come from the day you reap. It comes from the quiet days when you show up and nurture something no one else can see yet. The story is a lot about building income online. Most people plant a seed, stare at the soil, and then walk away when nothing happens in 48 hours. But the people who win, they're the ones who keep showing up. They're the ones who water the idea, even when no one cheers for them yet. And the opportunity you're looking at right now, it isn't about chasing money or trying to get rich quick. It's about joining a movement, a mission, a group of people focused on helping 1,000 families breathe financially again, one step, one seed, and one breakthrough at a time. When you help someone else climb, you climb with them. When you light someone else's candle, your flame doesn't get smaller, the room gets brighter. This isn't about hype, it's not about pressure, it's not about promising anything that life itself can't guarantee. It's about something much simpler. A community of people choosing faith over fear, action over excuses, and purpose over panic. It works because it's built on a principle as old as time. When you help enough people get what they want, you naturally get what you want. Not instantly, not magically, but predictably. Like a seed that grows when you tend to it long enough. And you're not doing it alone. You're doing it with people who have been where you are. People who have doubted like you have. People who have failed and stood back up. And people who will cheer for you until you start cheering for yourself again. That's the real difference. Not the system, not the tools, not the compensation, but the belief behind it. Because belief, when paired with action, is unstoppable. Imagine waking up and realizing you're no longer rushing for life, that your time belongs to you, that your income isn't controlled by a boss or a schedule or someone else's permission. Imagine being surrounded by people who get you, who speak hope when you forget your own, who remind you that you're capable, worthy, and built for more than survival. Imagine knowing that while the world is full of noise, you found a place where the purpose actually matters. A place where you're building something that outlives the moment, something that gives your family breathing room, something that gives your heart peace, something that gives your future a foundation. This is what happens when you mix faith with action, when you stop planting and quitting, and finally plant and grow. If this message speaks to you, if something inside of you is saying, I'm ready to believe again, then take the free tour in the description. Not because you're buying something, but because you're exploring a mission, one that's helping families all over the world rise together. If you feel called to it, follow it. Your next chapter might just start with one small seed.